Well, aloha kakahiaka, everyone. Today is April 2nd, and you are here with us on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Peter Keei, and this is the pre-show. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes before we start the actual show. This is a way to kind of us to warm up, get our mics ready, let the Facebook feed do its magic here. And I'm here with my good friends. We got Scott Startsman, who's with us from Oahu. We got Dylan Nonaka, who's with us from the Big On, and we have Heidi Dollinger, who is hailing from Maui. All right, let's do our little mic check and coffee check. Scott, how is it? What's going on how's Oahu? How are you doing, buddy?
We got beautiful weather. It's a great day. The funny thing is I lost power yesterday, and I did exactly what I said you should do as a remote worker from last week's show. I said, what can you do at that point? You might as well go get in the ocean. So I did. I went out for a late afternoon open ocean swim. First time I've been able to do that in probably 2 months. Just been working so hard and grinding.
A combination of that hard work. I know you've been grinding, and the weather hasn't been that conducive to wanting to go out. It's been kind of stormy, wintry, rainy, etc. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Dylan, what's going on, my man?
A beautiful day over here too. Heading out to Volcano this weekend to spend a couple of days up there in the park at the cabins. Spending Easter weekend
hang out with your mom.
Mom and Bud, they'll come over. They're up there, and we got a bunch of families going up. We actually got like four families that are all going. We got like 4 cabins, so it should be a fun weekend.
Oh man, that sounds fabulous. What's the shirt du jour today, Dylan?
This is Sig Zane.
Big Island. Here we go, man. What is there anything specific about that pattern?
No, I don't know the history with this one. Looks cool though, right?
Yeah, it is cool. It's I'd almost kind of say it's like a haole pattern, man. It doesn't look quite like a local pattern over there. I'm not seeing any kind of plants or trees. It looks kind of a postmodern Aloha shirt there. Anyway, great to have you here. Heidi, I just brewed my coffee in your honor. What's going on, Heidi, and what are you drinking this morning?
Well, I have a Kanapali Peaberry coffee. It's delicious. Great way to start the day. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous day here. I can't wait to get out on the ocean and go paddleboarding. Probably around 5 o'clock today is when I'll go. Like between 5 and 6.
I didn't know that are you a stand-up paddleboarder? I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah, I love doing that. I mean, I'm not a professional or anything, but it's my way to go and relax on the ocean. And I try to go at sunset. I mean, that seems to be the best time for me. It's really, the water is calmer in the morning, which is probably a better time to go. But I really like going at sunset, and it's just so beautiful and just a great way to relax, unwind, and spend time on the ocean.
Yeah, I gotta, I'm fundamentally a body surfer. My ritual is try to go out on Wednesdays and Saturdays, Makapu'u Beach, body surf. That's my thing. But paddleboarding, we've tossed it around. Haven't quite made the leap yet. But paddleboarding would not be at all a bad thing. All right, we got some friends who are all joining us over here. Let's kind of go down our list and say hi to everybody. Let me see if I could try it. All right, let's see if this works any better. So there's Christopher. Christopher, welcome. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Thanks, Christopher. We're glad to have you here. Actually, I should have put Jim first because Jim's always here. Jim, aloha kakahiaka. Jim, great to have you here with us, buddy. And Robert from Northern California, up there in Davis, California. Excellent. And see, Dylan Joyce agrees with me. That's not quite a Hawaiian shirt. We love it. It's a Zig Zane. It's a beauty, but it's definitely it's kind of a little bit different, but it's great. And I'm going to talk about this later. But there's Jim David from San Diego. Excellent. This is great. All YouTubes, by the way, this time around. We've got the show is simulcast on Facebook and YouTube, and up where our friends are coming in. And there's Tom. Hey, Tom. Snow this morning in Chester County. Yes. While you're in snow, Tom, we are paddleboarding in Maui. Or paddleboarding in Maui and body surfing on Oahu and swimming. Dylan, what was your outdoor thing? Did you do anything in any kind of camping or big on stuff the past week or so?
I went out on the boat fishing last week. Didn't catch anything, but this week went by quick. It's just been busy working all week. So
busy like crazy. Yeah.
I like to try and get out and weed whack once a week. That's my big week outdoor activity. Is I got to weed whack my acre of grass.
God bless you, man. God bless you. Hey, by the way, Tom, I've got your slides ready, so I'll pop your Tom gave us some questions, and I've got slides ready for Tom's question, which is really great. I really want to thank you for that. Steph, aloha from New Jersey, welcome. This is great, man. Y'all up are with us this morning on this Good Friday. To all my Christian friends, have a blessed and glorious Easter weekend. Judy Everett, welcome, Judy. Great to have you. And Sherman, aloha from Tennessee. All right. Well, it's 9:01. We need to get we gotta get this party started over here. So let me welcome everyone back. Let me welcome everyone back again to our Aloha Friday Hawaii show for today, April 2nd. And we are going to start with a quick overview of some Hawaii news. So there's interestingly enough, you see the COVID cases climbing. Now, there's no cause for alarm, but I just kind of wanted to make that bullet point, a little note there in history that you see all the little curves over there, and they're all kind of working their way up. Of course, except for Kauai, which is not letting anybody on the island for all practical purposes. I got a funny story about that, but that's just a joke. They're letting people on, but they're very, very restrictive. So that's that. There's a vaccination passport that's in the works. And so what the Lieutenant Governor Josh Green said, he said, what we'll see is come in May, June, and July, people will be able to demonstrate they've been vaccinated, and that will be sufficient for travel. I think this is kind of a thing that's brewing, and there's no doubt in my mind that this is brewing not just for Hawaii, but is going to be brewing for the travel industry overall, certainly air travel. So I see that definitely going on. Now, interesting, this other bullet point I've got over here, $1,000 a day for rental cars. I'm going to bring this one in. So Stargazer came in early this morning, and she said, oh my goodness, everything is such a challenge visiting Hawaii. Rental cars, food industries, tour industries, yikes, visiting in May, big on. Yeah, gang, look, you have got to plan this out. There are $1,000 a day rental cars going on right now. So here's an interesting one. The vans were going for as much as $500 a day. Convertibles renting for $1,000 a day on Maui. Heidi, the cheapest rental is $722 a day for a Toyota Camry. Only Kauai, who's got that flat line, got cars under $100. Dylan, on the Big Island, it's sold out. There are no rental cars available. So what's happened is that the industry had to basically dump all their cars because of COVID, because no cars were being rented. They were depreciating. They've dumped all the cars. And now that it's coming back, they don't have any cars to rent. So you kind of want to plan for that. Again, planning is the key. Turtle Bay is reopening. Big deal. Turtle Bay on the island of Oahu, a big resort there. They've been remodeling it, and they're going to be making a big deal. So it's kind of like a signature event over there. The word here, gang, is you definitely want to be planning the vacation. I have a story here to share with you all. I had some friends and family came over to visit us last week, and they were vaccinated. They went through the test, the pre-test. They came over on safe travels. They were able to skip quarantine. They came back here and they tested again because they wanted to go to Kauai. They tested again. Test came back negative. They went to Kauai, and as soon as they landed, they had a military escort to escort them back on the plane to have them come back to Oahu. Now you wonder what happened with that. Well, what happened was that Kauai says you have to be in Hawaii for 3 days before you get your test, and then that test has to be negative. Well, they were here they got a test as soon as they landed. They got retested again, came up negative, and then they went to Kauai. And Kauai said, no. It's not enough that you're vaccinated. It's not enough that you've been tested on the mainland negative. It's not enough that you came to Hawaii, got tested, and are negative. No, not enough. You weren't here for 3 days. Back you go. And they had a military escort back. So that was a good one. I got to tell you, that blew me away. They had a good time with that one, but it was not fun. Hey, real quick, we're going to go around and get the news from the rest of the state here. But Richard, for that rental price would be cheaper to buy it when you get there and sell when you leave, practically, or store for the net visitor or rent it out. Yeah, absolutely. So
hey,
that's that.
One pro tip on cars. So Turo, Touro, is
Turo.
Turo, yeah, Turo, yeah. It's like Airbnb with cars. So private car owners who have an extra car, and I'm considering putting my third vehicle on that because it's a good way where you can rent a car from somebody privately, and you probably won't have to be paying $1,000. So check it out.
Thanks. A nice plug there on Turo. I use Turo a lot. It's really fun. I use Turo. It's a great play. It's a great way to get rental cars. It's a great way to get fun cars that you can't normally get for like a low price. So, I'm going to go visit my daughter in Reno, Nevada. And I was just on Turo just yesterday. And I have a choice. I could either rent a BMW M3 for $80 a day, or I could get a Toyota Camry for God knows, I don't care what the amount of money is for a Toyota Camry. I'm going to get the BMW M3 for $80 a day. So that's that. Let's see. Tom, thanks, Tom. Big CDC news. Fully vaccinated U.S. citizens do not need to pre-test when traveling within the U.S. No pre or post air travel COVID testing within the U.S. Game changer for Hawaii. Man, I've got to. If somebody, Tom, if you or anyone can find that link so I could post it on, that is.
It was in the New York Times had it out this morning. I was reading it this morning. That's essentially what they were saying. But now Hawaii has to follow suit with it and agree to it, right?
Yeah. See. With Tom, here's what you understand. That's the mainland. That's not Hawaii. So we don't follow you. We don't follow white man rules over there. We do things. This is not, this is the United States legally, but it's not the United States culturally. That's for darn sure. But anyway, I'm hoping that's very good news. That's very, very good news. And I'm certain. I mean, this is, of course, we're paving the way for the mark of the beast, of course, right? We're all going to have the mark of the beast to show that we've been vaccinated. But hey, that's going to be that's the price that we're all going to pay. So Turo is pricey too, $250 per day. Well, Stargazer, it's less than $1,000. So I'd have to kind of check and see what Turo's going for, but it's less than a G Note, and you could even at least get it. Jennifer's a big fan. Jennifer, wow, by the way, awesome. Vids, I love them. Yeah, we love you too, Jennifer. Great. Hey, let's do a quick update around the state news-wise. Is there anything new? Is there any newsworthy stuff that happened on Oahu, Scott, that's worth mentioning that I missed?
I don't think newsworthy. I mean, I did spend this past weekend down in Waikiki. I was bringing on a listing. We were going to go on market for 3 days, and I put my client up in a hotel down in Waikiki. So I went down to visit them, have dinner, and man, there were so many people around. And I would say 5 out of 10 of the tourists that were walking around weren't wearing masks, and it was a very uncomfortable feeling for me. And I'm not usually very sensitive about the mask topic. I mean, I do it, and I expect other people to kind of do it out of respect. But I was shocked at the number of people that were just on crowded streets walking around with no mask, didn't care, pretty brazen and blatant about it. And then the other aspect of it is, man, I've ruled out Waikiki now. I did the Waikiki thing when no one was around, but just to even get into restaurants is almost impossible. You got to have a reservation like 4 or 5 days in advance. And even then it's getting to be tough. So it's, people are back, and it's definitely more congested, and it's a little interesting feeling. I wonder when that feeling of being able to be comfortable in crowds is going to come back from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I'm going to confirm what you said, Scott, because our friends and family who were here, actually was my cousin from Chicago and her husband. We had a really hard time finding a reservation for it. We had a really hard time getting a reservation. We're in this weird period because I also looked at the numbers, and tourism is still, I think, less than half of what it was last year. But it's just that the supply is not meeting the demand. The industry is not fully turned on. And so you've got this, like with the rental cars, this situation going on. And so planning is the key. Plan ahead for everything. Like Jim David here, who's planning ahead, got a Hertz rental through Priceline for Kona in late June, $50 a day. Dude, you should just turn that around and rent that, turn around and rent it again. You could make a bundle of money and just re-renting what your thing is. And there's Jason Rogers. Jason, a member of the Islander Ohana. Welcome, Jason. Good to see you, buddy. Dylan, news from the Big Island that I should have included that I didn't. Anything you want to add on to that? You're muted.
No big news, but same thing with just the visitor numbers. I mean, it's definitely back. Any of the resorts you go to feel pretty full. Restaurants are filling back up, and just like you were saying, restaurants haven't fully staffed back up. The hotels haven't fully staffed back up. So it feels like the service isn't as good when you go out. Service is slow. People are overworked because they haven't fully gotten everybody back on board to provide full service. So it should be interesting to see over the next couple of months how that shakes out.
Yeah, that's going to be it's going to be interesting how this supply is going to come back to meet the demand. Heidi, what's Maui news that's worth noting?
Well, yeah, I mean, exact same thing on Maui. It is super busy here as far as the visitor industry right now. Vacation rentals are almost fully booked. Restaurants are busy. It just seems like there's a lot of people on the beach, which, I mean, coming off of last year, it's just shocking, but it's really just a return to how things were before, the pandemic in 2020. Funny story, somebody I know arrived in Maui, was told there were no rental cars, and went and rented a U-Haul from Home Depot and drove that around for his vacation. So there are a few, and there's those U-Haul pickup trucks available that you can rent, and those were, regular prices. So
now that's creative. We shouldn't broadcast that one, right? Because that's word's gonna get out. Then the U-Haul trucks are all gonna get rented. What a great idea! That's ingenuity right there, Tidy. That is ingenuity right there.
Now for my construction projects, when I got to go pick up materials, all the U-Hauls are going to be $1,000 a day too.
Oh man! Well, you know what? This is a time to go to Turo. Dylan, I'd be interested next week. Give us at our next show in a couple of weeks. Give us the report if you put your car out on Turo. That's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in Hawaii who have Turo cars, so I definitely go check that out. There is inventory because I just checked, just for the fun of it. I'm gonna, like for example, Turo is also fun to rent out like fun cars. Like if you ever wanted to, like a test drive. The car I own now, the famous convertible Porsche that's in all those videos. I rented out a similar car on Turo to see if I was going to like it. It was a great way to try before you buy. Let's see here. We got a couple of questions that popped in. Jim Stevenson. Jim, she says it sounds like it would be very difficult for a New Yorker like myself to visit Hawaii and live there until I find a permanent condo to buy. Is that true? Scott, what do you think about that? This is Jim who's trying to figure out a way to, Jim's envisioning a way to kind of come out to Oahu and rent for a few months and then buy. What would you say to Jim?
No, you can do it. I mean, it's everything we just said is all about planning. So all you got to do is plan, and you'll find availability. I mean, even for me, I'm going to the Big Island next month, and I was able to easily pin something down for my vacation. Not only the flights, the car, everything was super easy. As long as you're planning for it, not a problem.
We did an in-depth video, several shows ago all about renting in Hawaii and Airbnb for sure. Jim, you want to go check that out, and of course, you're going to circle back and hook up with Scott on that property. So Jill says, "Yeah, your daughter's from Reno, Nevada." Well, she's not from Reno, Jill. She just moved. She's from. Just kidding. She was born and raised in Hawaii. She moved to Reno. Yes, and so you're moving from there to Honolulu in 2 months. Excellent. Yes, my daughter is she's a researcher at the economics researcher at the University of Nevada in Reno. So that's her story. Great to have you moving here, Jill. And Alex Pactaman. Hey, Alex, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you. All right, I think we covered just about everything. Let's move on with our real estate market update now. Let's maybe kind of shorten this segment because I know you're all going to say that the market is bananas. It's crazy. There's no here. Let me just kind of summarize for everybody. The market is bananas. There's no inventory available. Prices are skyrocketing like crazy. You can't get anything. You can't. You're bidding on a. You have to bid over $100,000 over asking, and you still won't get the property. Okay, now that being all said, what else is going on? Give me something else that's going on the market. Let's go counterclockwise. Let's start with you, Heidi. What's going on with the Maui market that I haven't already said?
Well, that was an amazing summary. I mean, this whole week is it's felt like one long day. I mean, I don't want to, repeat your summary, but one of kind of the challenging things happening right now is escrow companies, lenders, everybody's really backed up. So just takes a lot of focus. I mean, I think it's more important than ever before to work with a really good realtor, especially in some of these competitive situations. And I mean, just because the market is busy and yes, there are things going above asking price, that doesn't mean every single listing should be selling above asking price. So, I mean, I think that you want to work with a professional that knows the market and can guide you and, not just go bonkers over everything. So, but anyway, it's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Dylan, give me a story, or add into what I said. Have anything else that you want to add, and or give me a story from the last 2 weeks.
Well, so since the last show, and I don't, we're always talking doom and gloom here, and like we don't want to, depress anybody about not being able to buy. But I did last week get 3 buyers under contract, so it's not impossible. I've told plenty of stories about getting beat, but if you find the right property, if it's a property that maybe is not priced correctly, there's still room for negotiation, and so you just got to go out there and find it. So all hope is not lost. There's still opportunities out there, and you got to be in the market. You can't just, the only way to catch a fish is to put your line in the water, right? So if you're just going to sit on the sidelines and not do anything, you're definitely not going to get anything. So you still should be involved and engaged. But from some numerical standpoint, so we talked a little bit pre-show. So Scott's going to add some of his numbers into this afterwards. But very interesting, on the Big Island, there are only 450 active homes on the Big Island across the whole entire island. There are about 16, 17, 1,800 realtors on the island. So there's like 3 realtors for every home that's for sale on the Big Island. Crazy. There's 605 under contract. So there's like 200 more homes under contract than there are even available. And, we've had 319 sales in the last 30 days. So we're getting to the point where like pretty much every home that comes in the market goes under contract and then sells. So it's pretty shocking inventory, but I'm going to turn it over to Scott because it's not even as bad as Oahu is.
Before we get Scott's even doomer and gloomer numbers, just to give me some context, Dylan, how many homes you said are, what's the inventory now on the Big Island that you say?
I'm just talking homes, but 450. Homes. Yeah.
450. Now, how is that? What would be, previous to this madness? How many homes would you normally have available in inventory? How does that compare?
Like 3 times that many.
3 times that many. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That really
and then the crazy ratio is the amount that are under contract and the amount that are selling. Right. Normally that ratio is like, 2-3 to 1, the amount that are under contract and selling, not like a 1-to-1 ratio. Right. So
what do you mean? So give me an example.
Like if there's 1,000 homes on the market, usually only 300 homes under contract.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
We're at the point now where there are more homes under contract than there are homes on the market.
Oh my God. Okay. That's right? Like completely upside down.
It's upside down. Yeah.
Completely upside down. Okay, great. Well, like Heidi said, this is why you want to work with someone who's experienced and can help you still close those deals, because I know that if you close a bunch. Scott, Dylan gave us the wetted our whistle about some crazy numbers on Oahu. What's going on?
Yeah, so if you look at Oahu population-wise and number of homes, condos, and whatnot compared to the Big Island, what is there, like 150,000 people on the Big Island and like 1 million on Oahu, and we have the same number of homes on the market as the Big Island does actively available. We're like 443. It's insane. And so last year prior
to hold on quick. I gotta stop you. Let's just repeat that. There are less homes, or about the same amount of homes inventory available on Oahu, population of 1 million people, as there are on the Big Island, which is a population of about 150,000. Same inventory available.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, and we have 685 homes in escrow right now. So exact same thing that Dylan's seeing on the Big Island. The interesting thing is, so pre-COVID, we were at 4.5 months of inventory. Active inventory would have been at about 2,000 homes on the market. So that kind of gives you the perspective of where we would be, where we are.
So almost 5 times. So in other words, you're saying there'd be about 2,000 homes, typically speaking, available, like if you do a Zillow search or whatever. And now you're saying there's about, like you said, about 400 yep. something?
Wow. 443 to be exact.
Okay. Well, when's this going to end up? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So to actually give you some good news, I'm actually running 6 escrows. 3 of them are in escrow below the list price. So it's not when we're talking some of these numbers, part of it might be a little bit dramatic, but you do have the ability to negotiate out there on certain properties. Not every single one of them is getting bid up. I did put in an offer last week or a couple of days ago in Kailua, and there were 44 offers and it went 150 grand over asking. I also just brought on this Ocean Point property, a house. I did everything up front. That's where I put my client in the hotel for 3 days. I had 60 people through, 16 offers, and we're well over 100 grand above the asking price. I did list it a little low, and it's almost a model type home. But the more amazing thing that I realized in those 16 offers when they came in, because I had done a home inspection, PV inspection, survey, title report, everything a buyer needs to do during a contract, you can remove your contingencies and just do the financing. When I did that, 13 of the 16 offers that came from agents, they didn't know what to do. They left inspection contingencies in there. And I said, hey, are you going to do a J1 inspection? No. And I said, then why do you even have it in the contract? Well, I thought this is how we're supposed to do it. So what we're also
Scott, you're giving secrets here. You're giving industry secrets away to all the inexperienced agents. Why? How good of you? How nice of you?
Yeah, but it really highlighted a concern for me, which is lack of knowledge, experience that's in the industry right now. And if you're not working with the right person, that can be significantly detrimental to you when you're bidding on some of these properties.
Yeah, that's a great point, Scott. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was just so nice of you to kind of share your
trade secrets.
That's right.
I got many others. That's just one.
That's a free one. That's a giveaway. That's a giveaway. You'll have to kind of hang out with us until midnight tonight and get the Ginsu knives to get all the other offers. Yeah, great. Thanks, gang. Hey, before we go on, there was one thing that I just kind of wanted to touch on this real quick because you brought it up, Scott, and I felt it too, which is this idea about seeing people without the reaction locally to seeing people without masks. I felt the same thing because we went down to Waikiki to meet with my cousin who was visiting us. And I too saw people walking without a mask. And my initial reaction was, how dare you? What are you doing? Are you, this is how you put that mask on, and which is horrible, frankly. I'm conflicted, right? Because personally, I'm sick of this thing. I'm done. I am done. Right. I'm so done. And I kind of don't care anymore. So I'm with them. I'm sick of the mask, but I'm also kind of socially sensitive, right? After I haven't gotten vaccinated yet, but I did schedule my appointment. Once I get vaccinated, I don't have to wear the mask, but I'm going to probably wear it just so I don't freak other people out, right? So I'm like, how long is this going to go? That's kind of what my question is, right? How long are we going to socially kind of keep this thing going? Dylan, what I want to get the Dylan's honest. What do you think? Because you're a pretty good sort of a cultural observer. You're coming from a bunch of different angles. Have you thought about this all? What do you think is going to? I mean, what's the vibe in Kona, or what do you thought about? What do you think about? How long are we going to kind of keep this mask thing on and fear of COVID, even though we're going to be vaccinated and there's going to be new strains and it ain't going to matter because they're going to keep telling us to put our mask on or take our mask off or whatever? What's your thought on that?
It seems like to me that people are publicly compliant, but privately nobody cares, right? I mean, people are having dinner parties at their house and socializing, but when they go out to the store, they put their mask on. So I don't know, but I mean, that's with so many things in culture and life today where it's not appropriate to have certain beliefs or say certain things, but you'll do it with your family and your friends, but you won't do it in public or on social media. But, it depends on where you come from. I mean, the UFC is doing a full-blown event in Florida in a couple of weeks, 15,000 people. It's sold out in 2 minutes, right? So clearly people are in other parts of the country are pretty much over it for real, not just privately. So that's an interesting perspective, and it's interesting talking to people that come from other places because they are like that. Or you talk to somebody from like Iowa and they're like, we never had masks, or like South Dakota, they just never, it wasn't even a thing, right? So it's really
Texas, South Dakota, Florida, right?
Yeah,
right.
The microcosms of pockets of America and how different we've reacted to this and how we've complied or not complied or whatever. So
yeah, it's been interesting. Here, so Nina Nina, this is a great comment. So Nina, as long as you're 6 feet away, viruses don't reach you. Yes, but guess what, Nina? And here, just give me a nod. All right, if you've seen this, have you seen someone driving a car with the windows rolled up and their mask on? Right? Have you? Okay, Heidi, have you seen it? Yeah. Right? Okay, we've all seen it. We've all seen it. People driving in their car with the windows up and the mask is on. it's a cultural thing. Anyone else want to? Anybody, Heidi or Scott, you want to add anything into this idea of kind of what's going on culturally with the mask thing?
I actually was surprised at my reaction when I got down into Waikiki. I actually felt myself go, oh my God, what are these people doing? And I have not felt that way, and I've been like you, like I'm done. I'll do it out of respect for others, but I'm kind of finished with it. But then there was this psychological element for me that was like, oh my God, what are these people doing? And they're brazen about it. You can see the attitude, right? And I'm like, oh my God, stay away from that person. And I'm like, I'm done with Waikiki. And I'm like, why am I feling this way? When did this change come about?
That's it.
How long is it going to last?
Yeah, that conflict, right? My inner conflict of like, this mask is stupid. I'm sick of wearing the damn thing, but I'm going to wear it. And why aren't you wearing yours?
Yeah, my joke has been, wait 5 years from now when they tell us, carbon monoxide poisoning or something that we all got in some kind of way from wearing the mask too much or something.
You wait till they find out that masks cause COVID. That's the one I'm waiting for. I don't know. Heidi, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think, mask wearing here, when I'm out and about, outside, I see half the people wearing masks, half the people not. If you're 6 feet away from people, that's great. But we have a lot of wind here blowing around. So I don't know. Who knows? I think in public, it still is viewed as a sign of respect to wear a mask. There still are people that are scared of COVID, and also the large number of visitors right now. I think it's kind of a respectful thing to do in public, but is kind of what Dylan said in private. People are socializing and going out. So and I hope mask wearing isn't going out of style, because I finally have this great wardrobe of all these cool masks. I don't wear them on the show, but I was just noticing I have quite a collection right now.
Heidi, I would expect nothing less from you than to have a coordinated wardrobe of a well coordinated mask wardrobe. I'm for the one who I've seen as respectfully, you beautifully over prepare for everything. That does not surprise me at all. And Nina's giving a good lull on this. Yeah, absolutely. And Lynn, I hope you're right. I don't like it either, but just what to do for now, it's all temporary. I'm hoping it's temporary, Lynn, but you also saying that your medical director from my work advises that those of us who have been vaccinated to continue to wear masks for now, because we can still carry the virus and infect those who aren't vaccinated. I've heard that too. So to me, it's like, it's masking forever. But we'll see. I don't want to detour. This is not a show about masking or COVID. This is a show about the Aloha Friday Hawaii real estate show. Let's move on over.
Funny thing is when real estate agents aren't like considered essential, right? So I don't know if when
you're unessential, you are unessential.
Yeah, and so one other interesting anecdote on this, I've been asking people, because people always ask, have you gotten your vaccine yet, or do you have it scheduled? And my answer is always no, because we're not essential apparently. But I'm also a member of the Army Reserve, right? And the military has given me everything that you could possibly give a person. I mean, smallpox, anthrax, I've had it all. But they have not forced us to get the COVID vaccine, which I find very interesting. So until they do, I'm standing by.
What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with that? That's odd.
It's voluntary.
Yeah, I saw an article where like 50% of the guys in the military were not interested in taking the vaccine.
Well, and part of that is, and it could be a practical matter, right? If you're in the military, you are in the demographic where you probably have the lowest risk of having any type of severe reaction, even if you get COVID, right? So there are probably demographics in society that are higher priority to get the vaccine. So that may be part of it, is just management of the supply. But it's at this point, it's still voluntary. And I'm hearing they're starting to make it available, and you just got to go schedule your appointment at Tripler or one of the military facilities, but not mandatory yet.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. We got a question from Tom. Tom, Heidi, what about that 50+ outbreak at a Maui church? You heard about this at all?
Yes. Yes, that was big news too. So, there still are COVID cases here. It still is an issue, and people still are concerned about it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta watch out for it. Let's see what we got over here. So Nina does wear the mask and wear mask to buy food. I wear the mask too. I wear it just out of respect. Out of respect. I mean, around our neighborhood, when people are walking their dogs and at the playground, I'd say if at most 25% are wearing their mask because we're all distanced and there's wind blowing around and everything like that. But there is the occasional person who's driving in their car with the windows rolled up and the mask is on. Pam Musso, aloha from Denver. Aloha back to you. Pam. Joyce, husband and I have second vaccinations. For me, I worry about other people more than myself. I tend to distance myself from people who however don't wear masks. But when will it end for my history? I just don't know. It does feel safer, Joyce. I mean, Hawaii's numbers speak for themselves. They speak for themselves. We got the lowest cases in the country. And yeah, right, Richard, the military knows, hint, hint. It's the grand conspiracy. I love conspiracy theories. Those are my favorite. Don't want to take it, but VA is recommending vets take it. Well, because vets, they're in that age group. If they offer any decline, and if anything happens down the road related to COVID, you're responsible for your own medical. Some of you declined the vaccine when it was offered. Yeah, so all kinds of. We are getting quickly derailed into the COVID show, and I'm resisting as much as I can, but the comments keep coming in. Right, Jason, totally agreeing the mask thing, over it, but the rules out of respect, right? But wearing a mask outside, again, it all depends. Again, my favorite example is the car with the windows rolled up. All right, we have to move on over.
Next slide. All right,
next slide, please. Next slide, please. Tom, this is for you. So, folks, so look, if you're if you got a question, I got links in the descriptions. Click on the link. It takes you to a form. If you submit your question for a form, you get priority if you come to the show as well. I'll do a pretty slide for you over here with your name on it, like I just did for Tom. And Tom's question is, let's see here. Okay, so Scott has been clear that shipping furniture to Hawaii is for the most part a bad idea. Dylan has mentioned that if you're going to do it like on a whole container basis. But what about a car? And if you ship a car to Hawaii, do all cargo freighters like Matson go through the port of Honolulu and then have to be transferred to another freighter to end up at Kauai, Maui, or the Big Island? So that's Tom's question about shipping a car. So let's talk about a couple of those issues on shipping a car. So Tom, quickly, first of all, shipping a car is you have to kind of do your own math and kind of figure out if you have the right kind of car and think about what you could sell it for and what you would pay for a car in Hawaii. Right now, the used car market's kind of crazy, so it might be worth it. You're looking at $3,000 to ship a car to Hawaii, and yes, all shipping comes first. If I'm not mistaken, please, and I'm going to have my friends correct me if I'm wrong. All automobile shipping comes first into the port of Honolulu, and then you get on another barge. Typically, I believe it's Young Brothers. They may be the exclusive inter-island shipping company, but you get on Young Brothers and you ship your car to the island. So that's the way that basically works. What else, Dylan? Anything? If I was going to ship something to the Big Island, or anything else that I need to know about as far as shipping a car to the Big Island?
No, process wise, that's correct. I think the prices have gone up over the last year. I know previously the last truck I bought from Oregon and shipped it here because I saved $7,000 to $10,000 on the purchase price and paid the $1,000 to ship it. So there is some value potentially to shipping a car here, depending on the car. But you should shop around because we have somewhat of a monopoly here on the dealerships, and so there is a premium to buying cars here. And if you can get it cheaper on the mainland or you have your car paid off, it may be worthwhile just to ship it over.
Yeah, and if we're gonna, we can branch in that topic a little bit. If you do buy a car, Dylan, there's a tax agreement between certain states, right? So if you buy the car on some X state, you still have to pay either the general excise, the Hawaii general excise tax, or some kind of you don't avoid the tax, but you get a lower price presumably. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, got it. Good. Heidi, is there anything else I should know if I'm going to ship a car to Maui?
I mean, not really. You covered it. I mean, all cars here, they come from somewhere else anyway.
Yep.
Just if you're moving, I mean, maybe most people know this, but sometimes we've been asked no, you can't just put all your suitcases and everything in your car and ship your car. They don't let you do that.
Good one. We get that a lot. I get that a lot. Can I stuff my van? If I'm not mistaken, you even have to have your gas tank like no more than 1/4 full of gas. So you can't even fill your gas tank, for crying out loud. Scott, any words of wisdom we need to add to Tom, who's looking to ship his car here?
Yeah, I just had this conversation 3 days ago. Person had moved over here from Reno. They were looking at shipping 2 cars, and if they drove the cars to like LA to ship out of the port directly, then it was $1,500 here to Oahu. They had 2 cars, so it'd be $3,000. But if they shipped it from Reno to LA, then LA out of the port, it would have been $3,000 per car. So they decided to sell 1 car, drove the other one to LA, had it shipped, and then they're going to buy a second one here, save them quite a bit of money.
You know, I got to tell you, as someone, when I first moved here in the mid '80s, that's basically what I did. I had my car, and I had this phenomenal, cool, awesome adventure. I did a cross country trip. This was from Chicago and to San Francisco, and dropped off the car at the dock. It was a great adventure. Let's see, we got a couple of people here with us. Hey, Wes is an alumni of the Islander Ohana. Welcome, Wes. Good to see you, buddy. Say hi to Jess for me. Joyce says shipping to car from Oakland. Yeah, it took less than 10 days for 1,200. Picked it up in Hilo. That's a good. I'm going to call that a good deal from Oakland to Hilo, because you got the Oahu leg and you got the Hilo leg. That's awesome. I had a great experience, by the way. The car, the famous star of the show, that Porsche, my convertible Porsche, came actually, Dylan, from the Big On. It was I picked it up. I flew into Kona, picked it up, drove it across the island. Had a great road trip. I dropped it off in Hilo and showed up on my doorstep. Rhonda says I shipped furniture from Texas to Oahu with 2/3 of my shipment didn't even show up. Ouch. My trucks were only $2,200 each. Sorry about that, Rhonda. That's not what we want to have happening. All right. Let's see here. What's moving on now? Let's see. It's 9:30. Okay, we got a little bit. I'm watching our time over here. Tom, shipping from East Coast is pricey. Probably will buy. Yeah, or Tom, do the cross country trip, man. It's a great trip. See the USA, man. It's a great way to go. All right, let's kind of hit the next question over here that came in. So this is our big little topic for today, which is a shopping comparison. And so George from Plainfield, Illinois, asks, Peter, can you compare retail shopping on all islands of Hawaii versus the mainland for groceries and other shopping needs? Thank you. So this is a great kind of a statewide question. So tell us about what are the Heidi, let's start with you. What are what would you call the major shopping areas on Maui where one might go depending on where you live?
Well, it depends what you're shopping for. We do have some nice grocery stores over here. We have Safeway, Foodland, Whole Foods is over in Honolulu, but on the west side we have a big Safeway and Foodland and some smaller grocery stores. Compared to the suburbs of Chicago, not every grocery store is going to be as big and have the biggest selection, but we do have some big stores that they do pretty much have everything that you would expect to find. And then some of the smaller neighborhood stores, I notice, sometimes I go in there shopping I have an idea in mind of what I want to make for dinner, and they might be out of one thing or something, but that's more of the smaller neighborhood stores. The big stores are great and really nice. And then as far as other shopping, if you're looking for a swimsuit or board shorts or beachwear, greatest selection ever over here. In general, I mean, other clothes shopping and things like that, it's just not as big of a market as somewhere like Chicago or, a bigger city on the mainland.
So Heidi, where are the major, where would you categorize the sort of the major shopping districts on Maui? How would you characterize them or call them? For example, there's like Lahaina, there's Kahului, which is the main sort of town. Where are the other major shopping areas in Maui?
Well, Kahului is where you'll find all the big box stores like Costco, Target, Home Depot. You have the mall over there. in Wailea, there's a really nice mall, kind of a high-end shopping center, great for art, clothes, things like that. And then in West Maui, in Kaanapali, there's Whalers Village, which is also a nice shopping center. It tends to cater more towards the visitor crowd. But yeah, those would be the three main areas for shopping.
Great.
And there's some nice specialty stores too, and art galleries, and just, I mean, unique things.
Awesome. Thank you, Heidi. Dylan, what are the major shopping areas that one would go to on the Big Island?
Yeah, this is an important consideration depending on where you want to buy and where you want to live, because the main shopping hubs are Kailua Kona on the west side and Hilo on the east side. And you can easily be an hour and a half away from either of those. So if getting to the big box stores, there is only one Costco on the island on the west side. So if you live, the further you get away from that, the further you are from Costco, if Costco is important. But, the other areas of the island are somewhat rural and don't have as much as they used to. And over the years, we've seen, the little grocery stores shut down because just the population isn't there to support it and people are willing to make the drive. So you really got to consider that in, where you're looking to buy. If you're looking to buy, is how important is it to get to Target and to Walmart and Costco? Because it can be quite a drive if you're in certain areas of the island.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And this is what I love about our group over here, because there's the diversity based on the differences of the island. So the big consideration on the Big Island is that you may have a distance issue. You may have a huge distance issue where you got to drive for an hour or more to get to a shopping area to get the stuff other than the most basic fundamentals that you might find at the corner grocery store, if there is any.
Yeah, and even in the places, the rural areas with a smaller grocery store, I mean, you have the necessities there, but you're paying, a premium for milk and meat, right, and, vegetables. I mean, you can still get like maybe box stuff, non-perishable stuff for a similar price. But anything that's perishable, because of the cost to ship it out there, and they don't hold as much inventory because it's in a smaller rural area, you're definitely paying a premium for those items.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting consideration. And to a much lesser degree, Maui's got these patches, whereas like on Oahu, it's like everyone's, there's shopping districts everywhere. Scott, rattle off the big shopping districts that people can choose from on Oahu.
Everywhere. Kapolei, Second City, they got every box store. You go up, over Waipio, you've got Costco and a whole bunch of grocery stores and things there. You have Pearl Ridge Mall. That whole industrial section around there has everything you need. You come in town, Honolulu, you definitely have everything you need. Even Kailua has Target, Whole Foods. Those are two big anchors, Foodlands over there. Not to mention just regular shopping. Even Hawaii Kai, it's got its own little environment over there. It has Costco, has Safeway right there. So it's not hard here on Oahu. You pretty much have it everywhere.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, the interesting thing for me that I've found, and I paid attention to this, and I'm actually going to, I'm doing a kind of a blog post on this that I'm going to launch soon, is I've found I have a very specific pattern on how I buy my groceries here, because for certain things like milk and eggs, I go to Costco. It's cheap, so much cheaper than anywhere else. If I go to Times or Foodland, for one, having the discount cards at the grocery stores is key. You get big discounts. I don't know what it is with the Hawaii grocers here, but for example, if I go into Times and I want to buy peppers, they're $5.99 a pound. I go to Whole Foods, they have them at $3.99 a pound now. And last week they had them on sale for $1.99 a pound. I mean, that's an insane price range. And you find that all the time, even with the breads. I'll go to Times for the bread and it'd be like $6 for a loaf. You can buy 2 loaves at Costco for the same price. So there's like this weird matrix and method to the madness that you end up getting with your groceries. And I have this specific thing. I know where this one's going to be on sale for this time and this one over here. I have a hard time paying double for something if it's going to be on sale somewhere else.
We need to have a Scott's red bell pepper prices blog to tell us kind of where to go get those best deals. I think that's the interesting part. I mean, yeah, Scott, I mean, Oahu's got shopping kind of everywhere. The only place where it kind of thins out, right, is in the north area. I mean, Haleiwa it's certainly a shopping area, but once you get past, like, I would say if you go from like, let's say from Sunset Beach all the way to Polynesian Cultural Center, that kind of bend. Yeah,
Yep.
even there's still some shopping, but it's not clearly not as predominant as Oahu is. Great, excellent. And I was as you were talking, Scott, about those discounts cards. Yeah, Loop's got it. Yeah, I've applied for discount cards. Yeah, it's sort of like a given. You got to have those cards. You got to have your Safeway card. You got to have your Foodland card. Foodland is the local grocery chain. That's like a basically a must. Let's see here. We got Joyce. Thanks for chiming in, Joyce. Joyce says they just opened a super Safeway in Kailua Kona, Target, Costco, but don't expect to find Apple, Whole Foods, Best Buy, etc. The major shopping would mean to go to Oahu. That's right. And of course, you got Amazon. So who cares anymore, right? It's like you just get it from Amazon. It's easier to get it from Amazon than to drive 15 minutes to go and pick it up.
Wait till Amazon builds that distribution center out by the airport. Then that's going to be a game changer out here.
Great point, Scott. So Amazon made a huge purchase on Oahu to have a distribution center. So clearly they did the math. Their AI models have determined that it's going to be financially viable for them to have a distribution center there, which means that stuff's going to get shipped here, much quicker, much faster with Amazon Prime. So great.
We have the Amazon plane coming to the Big Island now, and my wife has had stuff show up within 24 hours. Like she'll order it like Thursday afternoon, and it'll show up Friday, at noon or whatever. It's crazy because it flies in at night, so it usually gets here at like 11. We can see it fly by out in the distance over the horizon going towards the airport. But yeah, they've really made it quick to get stuff out here from Amazon.
It's absolutely remarkable. I can't even imagine. I would love to know what Amazon's numbers look like for Hawaii. I will take a venture to guess that their numbers concentrated per capita, whatever, that Hawaii's got some of the best numbers. I almost will bet on it. Well, look, they bought that. Scott, I don't know how much their property was that they bought on Oahu, but it was in the many millions that they bought to kind of do their warehousing.
Yeah, and part of that methodology is because we're limited on the number of goods and the types of goods and the selection that we have that is shipped out here. So a lot of times we have to go to Amazon for things to be able to get it, to actually get availability here.
That's right. It's not even available. Great. Hey, let's
do there's also a lot of locally grown food and food that you can network with your neighbors and get for free. I mean, a lot of people have chickens, so you can get fresh eggs, avocados, mangoes, because when certain things are in season, I mean, people are pretty much just giving them away. So, and lemons and limes, things like that.
The time-honored tradition of bartering with your neighbors, right? I bring you mangoes, you bring me lemons. I bring you papayas, you bring me eggs. That's a great island tradition. In fact, a lot of the during season is, if you go to some of the local grocery stores, in particular like Times and Foodland, you will see local picked fruit from people's yards that are sitting for sale over at Foodland, which is always cool. Scott, you're going to add something.
Yeah, one thing we didn't touch about, which we should, is there's plenty of farmers markets here, and supporting local is really important. And you can really get fresh produce at a good price here. Funny story, I was in Times supermarket last week, and there was a crowd hanging out over in this one little section, and they're just standing there. And I asked the lady when I was checking out, I said, "What the heck's going on over there?" She said, "There's a special kind of papaya that only comes out on Wednesdays that they put out on the store." And she says every one of those people was waiting for them. And by the time they put them out, within 5 minutes, every one of those people was going to have grabbed them all. But that goes back to the local produce that we have here, some of the unique stuff.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you brought that up, Scott. Buying local is a really big deal here, and we're trying to kind of encourage it more. There's a lot of calls to kind of produce a lot of our local goods, all kinds of issues about that. But yeah, definitely going on. See, Dylan, now Joyce, Dylan explained the great mystery of why your Amazon Prime stuff gets here so quickly. Now you know why. It's because those Amazon planes are showing up, and great bartering deals in next door. Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right, gang. Next slide, please. I love that. That's a great line that I want to use that more often. So let's move on to our diamonds and deals. We're coming close to the close of our show over here. If you got any questions, folks, pop them over here because we're going to be we're bringing this around. Going to go over our cool stuff. These are the aspirational part of our show. I love this where each of my friends hand picks some properties that they want to use to highlight about Hawaii. Some are diamonds, some are deals, some are both. Let's go to our first one here, which is Heidi. When I first saw this, I had to look at it for a long time. So this is in Lahaina, 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, 4,600 square feet, 35 acres, complete with an Aloha cut hedges, $7.9 million. Heidi, what is this?
Well, this is appropriately known as the Aloha house. You can see this Aloha hedge from miles around. Was just listed 35 acres. I mean, for somebody that's really looking for a private sanctuary on the side of a mountain with incredible ocean views. So there's been a lot of comments on this Aloha hedge, so I just had to show it.
It of course immediately right away. I don't know about you folks, but immediately the first thing I thought of was that big Hollywood sign, right? That's the first thing I thought of immediately. So this is like the local equivalent, except we're more environmentally friendly, right? That's just like cut into the hedges. We're not putting fake plastic letters up. But that view is just breathtaking. Look at that. I'm assuming that's a sunset, not a sunrise. That is like, man, 7.9 for the low price of 7.9 million. That's an awesome one. Thank you, Heidi. Tremendous property. What do we got here? We got Scott's got us the condo, the 2-bedroom, 2-bath fee simple condo, $395. What a deal, Scott. What do we got here?
Smoking deal. Downtown Harbor Square. This is in the there's 2 towers down there. This one's 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Second to the top floor, 26th floor, and it's a corner in unit. So you can see in the lower right picture in the bedroom, you get side in windows. So your views are just breathtaking and sweeping. And you notice there's no buildings right in front. That's because those are all government buildings. So you look out across this government section that's all lower, 2-3 stories. So you get unobstructed views from sunrise up over the Ko'olau Mountains, and you actually do get ocean views and coastline views on the right, and you're looking out towards Kaka'ako side, towards Diamond Head. But 2-bedroom, 2-bath fee simple for $395,000. It has central air. The maintenance fee is $800 a month. So it does include the electricity, the central air, water, sewer, and trash, and all the common elements. You got a pool. You got a lot of quite a few amenities. So if you're working downtown or you want affordability right next to the Kaka'ako, this is a great buy.
Scott, this seems underpriced in terms of what the median price of the condo goes. I'm sure it's market price for this specific property. What's why is this so much below the median price for condos are on Oahu?
So the main difference with this one is it doesn't come with a deeded parking stall, but there's parking available in the building for about $235 a month. That's the main difference. But even at that price, it's still dirt cheap. It's a great value. And in that area, you don't really even need a car. Everything's within close proximity. So, car is optional at that point.
That's interesting, Scott. I wonder what's going to happen with that, because I can see now why there's a lower price, because it doesn't have a deeded parking stall, and it's another plus $200 a month, which is, again, it's still lower than the cost of what it would take. I think I agree with you that I think, especially for the downtown area, with the whole rise of Uber and these, fractional rental cars, like there's one of the local conglomerates, Servco, has one of these rent a car for an hour kind of deal. I forgot what they're called, but there's a company that does that. So you could basically, we're moving into a world where you don't own the car, you just use the car when you have a subscription to a car, and you can kind of just rent out that car for the day if you need it, and just use it then, which is kind of a cool way to go. Uber, etc. Excellent. That is a deal, Scott. 2-bedroom, 2-bath for $395, and that building down below, that square, a tan building, that's City Hall, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's City Hall.
City Hall. It could be. There's also to the left, right on the top of the railing, right on the left is also that that other government, the government building as well.
So it's government buildings, basically. Yeah. Great. Cool. All right. Let's move on to this, another stunner, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Let's see. Let me blow this up a bit more. 2-bedroom, 2-bath on Keei Beach. I never heard of that place before. 1.9 million. Dylan, this is like amazing. What is this? You're muted.
This is a complete diamond. You are hard pressed in a lifetime to find something like this available. This is right on Keei Beach, which is next to Kealakekua Bay. But for locals, I mean, it's a favorite area. It's one of the best surf spots in South Kona. It's a white sandy beach. And these properties, this one was in the same family for like over 100 years, the Greenwell family. And it's finally, gotten far enough down where, they are now not really connected to it and are looking to sell it. But it's a half acre, like literally right on the beach. That picture in the upper left-hand corner is the front yard, basically. So you jump over the stone wall and you're right there on the water, and just a super special, unique location. There is only a few properties that were carved out. Everything else around it is owned by Kamehameha Schools. So yeah, I mean, super, super special. These things never come up, and a real legacy property for someone that was interested in that.
Man, like you said, that is a once
and the house is super cool. It's not like a luxury home. It's a really well thought out beach house. So it's concrete poured walls. It's all of those windows are teak, so there's no like window hardware to rust, and those, you can kind of see those shutters that come down. So the shutters they're just screened, so there aren't really actual glass windows, because you don't want glass windows next to the ocean because they're just going to be totally dirty all the time. But there's a pulley system where you can lower those shutters so you can secure the house up and close them up, in bad weather or whatever. But then from the inside, you pull on these pulleys, and the shutters open up, and then you have just this sweeping view of your front yard and the water and the ocean. And it's a super killer house.
God, that's so cool. So let me see if I get this right. What you're saying is like if we look on this photo on the right side with the table in front of it, those big those look like windows, but they're not. You're saying they're not glass windows; they're just screens, basically.
They're just screens. Right? Yeah.
So literally, this home at least on this wall, has no windows. It does not have windows. Literally.
In the whole house. So both sides of the house are like that. So you can open up both sides of the house, and there's basically airflow through the entire house. It's got super high ceilings.
Oh my God.
And it's all wood and concrete. So there's very little metal in the house, which you don't really want near the ocean, because it's just gonna be a total maintenance disaster all the time. So
wow, how cool is that? That is amazing. How old is that house? Do you know?
I was built like in 96, so it's not super old.
Not super old. Wow, how cool is that? And that's one of the things that's so amazing about Hawaii, right? We have these wide open. Here's a home that basically it's all, I can't even say it's all window. It's all open. It's just got screens, and right, the whole darn house is open. And I could see that with the shade and the high ceiling, it's not going to get hot. Man, what a cool thing. All right. Well, gang, we're going to be bringing this to a close over here. I haven't had any questions, so we're gonna move on. And next slide, please. Let's move on to our closing thoughts. Scott, you want to what do you want to leave us all with for today on this Good Friday? Again, a happy Good Friday and happy Easter to all of our Christian friends. What do you got, Scott?
Yeah, just enjoy the weekend, enjoy the Easter break, and we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks.
There you go, man. Dylan, what's your closing thought?
And perfect is the enemy of the good, right? If you're waiting for something to be perfect, you're never really going to have anything that's good. So sometimes you got to accept what's good and not wait for some things to be perfect. So
there you go. Well said, Dylan.
And we see that in property all the time. People want the perfect house, and they give up a lot of good houses because they are waiting for the perfect house that really doesn't exist. So,
and they end up waiting for the perfect house that they never get, and so you end up kind of losing all around, right? You want that perfect house, you sacrifice the you sacrifice the good for the perfect, and etc. Heidi, what do you got for your closing thought for today?
Well, closing thought for today is take time to breathe and also just appreciate the beauty around you, because wherever you are, there's something that you can recognize that's beautiful, and I think it's important to be conscious of that and notice that every day, wherever you are.
Yeah, well said. I'll add in, be aware of the things that we take for granted every day and treasure them. We take so many things for granted. So much of our life, we take for granted that the light's going to turn on when we hit the power switch. We take for granted that the sun's going to rise. We take for granted that the weather's going to be good. We take these things for granted, and it's understandable that we take them for granted. But sometimes, if you just stop for a moment and look at every single thing going on that you take for granted and treasure that and enjoy that, it definitely changes your whole perspective. And Alex, yeah, thanks for sharing great information. You got it, buddy. Welcome back. Alex is an alumni of the Islander Ohana. Ray, yeah, Fridays in Hawaii are all good. Yeah, Ray, especially Fridays that are off. We are technically it's a holiday today. Of course, I bet you all going to be working today, closing those great deals. But it is a holiday. Pam loves the house. Happy Easter weekend. Peace be with you all. Thank you, Pam. Love you. And Tom, great show. Learned something new. I'm so glad about that, Tom, because I mean, we keep doing this, and I have this fear, like, are we going to run out of topics? But I guess not. There's always something cool to talk about. There you go, Richard. Thank you. When life gives you lemons, take the seed and plant a tree. Absolutely. Great. Yeah, that's what we ought to be doing. Closing thoughts, anybody kind of throw them in there. Maybe we'll do that at our next exciting episode. But for now, we are going to, me and my friends, Scott Startsman from Oahu, Dylan Nonaka from the Big On, and Heidi Dellinger from Maui, and me, Peter Keei from Oahu. We're going to bid you all a great Aloha Friday. You take care, folks. Aloha.
Have a good one.
Have a good weekend.